Have you ever stood before a mirror, gazing deep into your own eyes, and felt a chilling disconnect? Have you questioned if the reflection staring back, so meticulously assembled, so carefully presented to the world, is truly you? Or is it merely one of 1,000 roles, a polished mask, artfully concealing an unnamed void, a silent yearning for something more authentic? Imagine your life as an endless, echoing corridor lined with mirrors. Each one reflects a different version of you: the competent professional, the dutiful child, the charming friend, the stoic partner. Yet, in this labyrinth of carefully curated images, where is the singular, true face of your soul? This profound sense of fragmentation, this quiet ache of inauthenticity, is not a sign of madness. It is a summons from the deepest core of your being, an urgent whisper from your true self, urging you to embark on a courageous journey to self, to navigate the intricate maze of your own psyche and reclaim the visage that is authentically yours. We are born into a world that, almost immediately, begins to hand us masks. The expectations of family, the pressures of society, the unspoken rules of culture, all these contribute to the construction of our persona, the face we show the world. And while this social self is a necessary tool for navigating the complexities of human interaction, a perilous game begins when we mistake the mask for the wearer. The more we identify with this constructed self, the more distant we become from the vast, often tumultuous, inner landscape that includes our shadow, all that we have disowned, repressed, or deemed unacceptable. This chasm between the performed self and the authentic self is where the labyrinth truly takes shape, its mirrored walls reflecting not truth, but illusions that keep us captive. If you feel ensnared within this disorienting hall of reflections, if a deep-seated desire for something more real, more whole, stirs within you, then this exploration is your lifeline. Join Shadow Mind as we step into this labyrinth, not to be further imprisoned, but to discover the hidden pathways to liberation. Ensure you subscribe and activate notifications, for the discoveries ahead could fundamentally alter your perception of who you are. The persona, a term gifted to us by the pioneering psychologist Carl Jung, is essentially our psychological interface with the external world. It's the collection of social roles, behaviors, and attitudes we adopt to present ourselves effectively and gain acceptance. In its healthy function, the persona is like a well-fitting garment, appropriate for the occasion, allowing us to interact smoothly and achieve our goals. The danger, however, arises when this garment becomes fused to our skin, when we forget it is a construct and begin to believe, with every fiber of our being, that we are the mask. When this identification becomes absolute, our inner life begins to atrophy. Inextricably linked to the persona, yet standing in stark opposition to it, is the shadow. If the persona is the curated collection of all we wish to be seen as, the shadow is the repository of all we have decided we are not, or dare not be. This includes not only societally condemned traits, but also, paradoxically, a wealth of positive qualities, our untamed creativity, our raw passion, our fierce independence, our profound vulnerability. The brighter and more perfect the persona, the darker and more densely packed the shadow tends to become. They are not separate entities, but two sides of the same psychological coin, each defining and influencing the other, constantly shaping the labyrinthine corridors of our inner world. The construction of our persona begins in the earliest days of life. As helpless infants, our survival depends on the approval and care of our primary caregivers. We quickly learn which behaviors elicit smiles and warmth, and which lead to frowns or withdrawal. This is the nascent stage of persona formation. The inner child, in its profound need for love and belonging, begins to sculpt itself to fit the expectations of its environment. Persona as a defense mechanism, helping to conceal the vulnerabilities and insecurities of the inner child healing needs. The initial utility of the persona can gradually morph into a rigid prison when we become overly dependent on applause from the outside. There's the hero, always striving, achieving, rescuing, often at the expense of their own needs. Their shadow containing deep-seated fears of inadequacy or helplessness. The victim persona, perpetually wronged and powerless, may find a strange comfort in their suffering, their shadow holding unacknowledged strength, anger, or the capacity for agency. The perfectionist dedicates immense energy to maintaining an image of flawless competence, terrified of the judgment that might follow any mistake. Their shadow often teeming with repressed creativity, spontaneity, and the simple human need to be imperfect. The rebel persona defines itself by opposition, challenging norms and authority, yet their shadow might harbor a secret longing for acceptance or a fear of their own conventional desires. The caretaker pours themselves into nurturing others, often neglecting their own well-being, their shadow possibly containing legitimate needs for support, recognition, or even a touch of healthy selfishness. And then there's the intellectual or sage persona, prizing logic and knowledge above all, perhaps masking a discomfort with emotions or the messiness of human connection in their shadow. Life, however, has a way of shattering even the most carefully constructed masks. A sudden job loss, the end of a significant relationship, a debilitating illness. These are the tremors that can crack the facade of the persona. When the roles we've so heavily invested in are stripped away, a profound disorientation can set in. This crisis, however, is not a mere catastrophe. It is a critical juncture, often one of the most potent spiritual awakening signs. The shadow, then, is not merely the antithesis of our idealized persona, it is its secret sharer, its hidden foundation, where all that has been denied, rejected, or undeveloped resides. This includes not only our culturally defined vices, our anger, envy, lust, greed, laziness, but also a treasure trove of buried virtues and potentials. The shadow is formed concurrently with the persona. The more polished the persona, the more the shadow tends to accumulate. The opposite. The danger of ignoring the shadow, it will find ways to erupt uncontrollably. One of its most common tactics is projection. We encounter our own disowned qualities, mirrored back at us, in the people we intensely admire or vehemently despise. That colleague whose arrogance infuriates you might be reflecting your own unacknowledged ambition or insecurity. Dreams are another royal road to the shadow. In the theatre of the night, our repressed contents often take center stage, personified as menacing figures, shadowy pursuers, or embarrassing alter egos, engaging in acts we would consciously condemn. Our emotional triggers also offer invaluable clues. Those moments when you experience an outsized emotional reaction, a surge of rage, a wave of shame, a paralyzing fear that seems disproportionate to the actual situation, often indicate that a raw, unhealed part of your shadow has been touched. The journey of shadow work is not about waging war against these disowned parts. It is about the courageous and compassionate act of turning towards them, bringing them into the light of conscious awareness, understanding their origins, and ultimately integrating their energy and wisdom. Crucially, this process requires immense self-compassion. The ultimate aim of navigating this labyrinth of mirrors, of courageously engaging with both persona and shadow, is self-integration, the conscious, harmonious weaving together of these disparate parts into a cohesive and authentic whole. This is not about eradicating the persona, for we still need a way to interface with the world, nor is it about allowing the shadow to run rampant. Rather, it is about fostering a dynamic and flexible relationship between them, orchestrated by a deeper, wiser center within, the true self. In this integrated state, the persona becomes a more transparent and authentic expression of our inner reality, a tool used consciously and truthfully. The formidable energies of the shadow, once feared and repressed, are gradually understood, refined, and channeled constructively. For instance, the raw aggression within the shadow, left unacknowledged, it might leak out as passive aggression or explode in uncontrolled rage. But brought into conscious relationship, this energy can be transmuted into healthy assertiveness, the courage to set boundaries, or the passion to fight for a just cause. The shadow's perceived selfishness, when examined with compassion, might reveal an unmet need for self-care, which, once acknowledged, allows for a more balanced and sustainable way of giving to others. This transformative process is akin to emotional alchemy, turning base metals, our raw, unconscious psychological contents, into gold, conscious awareness, wisdom, and wholeness. At the heart of this integrative process is the emergence or strengthening of the true self, what Jung often referred to simply as the self, with a capital S. This is not the ego, nor the persona, nor the shadow, but the central archetype of wholeness, the organizing principle of the psyche that strives for unity and completeness. It is the quiet, indwelling wisdom that knows our authentic path. As we do the work of disentangling from our persona and integrating our shadow, we create space for this true self to come more fully into consciousness. It acts as an inner compass, guiding our choices, helping us discern truth from illusion, and fostering a sense of meaning and purpose. The awakening of this higher self, or the journey toward it, is often synonymous with spiritual awakening. This journey of facing the shadow and deconstructing a rigid persona can often feel like a death and rebirth. The old familiar self, with its predictable roles and defenses, must crumble to make way for something new, something more authentic. It can be a period of intense vulnerability, of feeling utterly exposed, without the usual psychological armor. Yet, it is precisely from these unveils, these shattered pieces of the old self, that a new, more resilient, flexible, and genuine psychic structure can be forged. Like the mythical phoenix, which rises anew from its own ashes, we too can emerge from periods of psychological dissolution with a renewed sense of vitality, wisdom, and authenticity. This is the profound promise of the healing journey towards self-integration. To escape the labyrinth of mirrors, therefore, is not to arrive at a place devoid of persona or shadow. These are inherent aspects of the human psyche. Rather, liberation lies in the capacity to recognize them for what they are, to cease our compulsive identification with them, and to live increasingly from the center of our true self, the authentic, untarnished face of our soul. There is an unexpected strength that arises from acknowledged vulnerability, a profound beauty in accepted imperfection. When we stop hiding our unveils and instead integrate them into our story, they cease to be sources of shame and become emblems of our courage and resilience. This authenticity is magnetic. It allows for deeper, more meaningful connections with others, as we grant them permission to also be imperfectly human. The journey through the labyrinth of mirrors, confronting the deceptive reflections of persona and shadow to reclaim the soul's true face, is undeniably one of the most challenging, yet profoundly rewarding odysseys of a human life. It is a passage from fragmentation to wholeness, from illusion to truth, from fear to a radical self-love. When you dare to look unflinchingly at all that you are, your light, your darkness, your masks, your vulnerabilities, without judgment, without evasion, you discover an inner freedom and a wellspring of strength that surpasses any external validation or social facade. Your soul, with all its unique scars and its innate radiance, is finally free to breathe, to express, to simply be. This is the essence of spiritual growth and the heart of the path to individuation. Thank you for walking with Shadow Mind through these intricate chambers of the psyche. If this exploration of persona, shadow, and the quest for the true self has sparked a recognition within you, please share your feelings and insights in the comments below. Your journey is unique, yet your voice can resonate with and support others on their own paths. Don't forget to like this video, share it with those who might find solace or inspiration in its message, and subscribe for more deep dialogues about the soul. What true face of yours is waiting patiently to be fully seen and embraced?